Hey, what's going on, my friends? Welcome to another live session with the FTP. Just go ahead and give me 1 second here. I want to make sure everything's working properly. We had some unexpected little hiccups as I was getting ready to go live, but here I want to make sure everything's working properly. I think we're good. Okay. How do I sound, my friends? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Please just kind of give me a heads up. Let me know everything's going well. Cool. What up, Cheryl? Good to see you. Energy Transformation with Serial Read. Hello. Francis. Thank you. Awesome. Glad it sounds good. Essential Vibrations. Zen Ren. Christine. Rocket Scientist's daughter. All right. All these cool names. Nice, nice. Welcome. Beautiful. All right. I'm going to take a quick sip of water here, my friend. We'll get ready to rock. Okay. Awesome, awesome. Okay, cool. All right, let's do this. So, my friends, last time I talked a lot. I had this whole spiel for you, and I know you like that. So today I have kind of a shorter thing I want to say to you that I think will help you, a little message, a little teaching, if you will. And then beyond that, I want to hear from you. I want to answer your questions and kind of really get a bearing of what's going on with you. So if you have any questions that you've been waiting to ask me on the live, go ahead and just leave them whenever you get a moment, okay? You can just leave them now, and I have Forrest over there in the other room who'll be going back to make sure everybody's questions are answered. I know a lot of people sort of pre-submitted questions, and that's cool too. We'll get into those. Thank you, Ascension Vibration. The kitchen, it's coming, you know. It's funny, for those of you who don't know, my kitchen's been being redone. We had this whole water leak thing, and it turned into this whole escapade. But thank you for asking. It's almost done. They said 2 days. It's been about 2 weeks, but we're about I think a day or so until completion. Cool, great to see you all here. I'm gonna settle myself down. Me and Forrest had some issues with our software that we use to go live, and it was last second we had pull some MacGyver moves and do it on this other laptop of mine. That's why you can probably sense I'm a little bit kind of tense in my voice. I was like, oh. And then here I am. But that's a good lesson because I've been in these circumstances before where things just don't go well. Things don't go as they're supposed to, especially with electronics. And in the past, it would crumble me because the stress and the nerves and the pressure can be very intense. But now I've gotten to a little bit more of a higher degree of experience where I just had this in my mind that this is going to work no matter what. I had a belief and just there's no option for this not to work. And then I was 1 minute late. It worked out. So anyway, just know that with experience, you become strong-minded, and these circumstances that initially we feel victim to have no real bearing over the storm that you can cultivate within yourself and bring to the table. Okay, anyways, let's get into this. Victor's going on about random tangents here. Let's bust this out, okay? What up, Corey? What up, J. Joe, Joshua, Anna, Casey, everyone? Thank you for being here, for real. Okay, so I want to share with you real quick, again, kind of a teaching, a concept that is a very important fundamental, it's a foundation of us all successful businesses. It's about your mindset, but also about the way you structure your time and your business in general. This is going to seem kind of simple, but it really is not. It really is profound, especially when applied. Sorry, my 4-year-old. It's the number one thing rule. There's this book I read a few years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, called The Number One Thing. I recommend you all read it. It's very simple, but again, it's it brings to light the human psychology and how it relates to business, okay? And basically the premise of The Number One Thing is that there's always one thing, one action you could take, whether it's per day or per year, one thing that will yield by far the greatest results. Like for Aaron, it's his daily YouTube videos. That's his one thing, okay? But there's also a million other things with his business that he could spend a lot of time and a lot of energy in but it will not yield what his YouTube channel does, okay? For me, it's writing email. That's like my passion. That's what I feel like I'm best at. And that's my number one thing. But here's the thing. The number one thing oftentimes tends to be the scariest thing, the thing that really provokes you to grow the most, and the thing that our mind will tend to prefer to put off and distract itself from. And again, because with an online business, there's so many things we could be doing. We can be busy and doing a lot of different things, but if it's not yielding those big payoffs, it's not time well spent. So my friend, the whole premise is, what is your one thing? And this can be applied to like, what's your big out of your business? What's the thing that brings the greatest yield? But it's also, I use this more regularly on a daily basis. What's the one thing I could do today that will give me the greatest result? And therefore, I structure my entire day around that one thing. In fact, I do that very specifically. I wake up and I meditate and I read and I psych myself up with lately it's been Tony Robbins. And I don't go into emails. I protect my consciousness that I build up. And then with all my energy, with all my focus, with all my psyched up mindset, I go nuts on my one thing because I know myself. I could easily get sucked into emails and putting out fires and reacting. And by the time that, 3-4 hours later, I'm exhausted. And then I didn't get that important thing done. Okay. So that's kind of, let me make sure I covered the gist of that. So yeah, it's just very important to really every morning, every day you're going to put work into this, to really ask yourself, what is the thing? What's the main thing that's going to give me the greatest yield? What's the most important task at hand? And give that your full energy and focus, okay? And if you can make that a habit, I try to get an hour, 90 minutes of my number one thing done 5 days a week. It doesn't sound like that much, but over years, that's crazy. That's like when you're really putting that quality of 90 minutes into your business 5 days a week, that really adds up very, very quickly and can build you an empire, okay? I had other stuff, but that's like the gist. That's the one thing about the book. What I just said is basically the whole book. It's like the whole concept. But I really recommend you guys read that book. It really stuck with me, and I realized this book was around because I was just studying what other high level entrepreneurs were reading, and it was a commonality. Almost all of them mentioned the number one thing. So I got the audio book, and I just listened to it in a couple days, and even though it's simple, what I gave the book, it's good to program your mind with that, because again, the way our mind works, that we would wake up and we check Instagram, we check our email, we can really just put a lot of time in doing nothing. Okay, and I'm finding this particular thing very relevant to me in my life because I have kind of a big one thing I've been working on lately. So it's the biggest course I ever created. It's been like a $500 online digital course of just my own. And it's like, Forrest knows, I've been working on it for like 5 months probably. And now that it's getting down to the wire to launching it pretty soon, it's so scary to me. I've never done this. What if it fails? I put all this work into it. What if they don't like it? What if people don't buy it? So it's been very challenging for me to do my one thing. It's easy to do the other stuff I'm comfortable with, but I've had to make myself do the one thing. And I know that's the case with a lot of you, whether it's you're trying to get on YouTube and you're nervous, or you're trying to do this new thing and get your website built and you're afraid to show people. It's again. So anyway, I'm rambling. You guys got the point. Let's get on with it, Nick. Okay, what I'm going to go do real quick, I'm going to start going back right now. Again, if you have questions, I see a bunch of let's see. Looks like there's a bunch of questions on here. I'm going to start answering, but I also have some that were submitted. But if you have some that are coming up for you now, go ahead and leave them. Now's the time. And we're going to start chipping away. I'm going to try to help every single one of you before I leave today, okay? If you have anything you want to share, anything you want clarity on, let's get into it, okay? I'm here for you. You're here. Let's rock. Zenren, good question. I've been doing a ClickFunnels training and they're pushing us to be super salesy. Is that necessary to be successful online? How do we not get sucked into the mindset that this is all hard? So there's two ways I would approach this, my friend. One, it could be that you're uncomfortable with sales. So them teaching and training you, you might say, well, they're being too salesy because it's like it's triggering stuff within you, which the same thing happened to me. I was very uncomfortable with selling for quite a while. I had to really be kind of programmed and like reprogram my mind to where it's okay to sell, Victor, because what I learned from experience in business initially with my personal training studio was that if people aren't sold, if you don't take them through a sales process, which can be perceived as manipulative, they won't act upon something that's going to help them. I would have people that were, 100 pounds overweight, told by their doctor their life is going to be short. They're not going to be alive to see their children grow up if they don't make a change. And if I was just like, well, here's my gym, here it is, I don't want to be too salesy, they would walk out and they would not get that help. You see? So, or, and with that said, ClickFunnels is sort of a salesy, not even salesy, it's, I don't know about the training. I can't really speak specifically on it, but I will say I would recommend you get comfortable learning how to sell and find a way to align that with your values. Again, for me, it was the recognition that if I don't sell, then people aren't going to get the benefits that my services that I created have passion and know will work. People won't get the benefits from them. That's just been my experience. People were very emotional creatures. If we're not really made to be aware of like what's at stake, a lot of times we put things that are very important to us off. Okay, so I'd recommend maybe going back through that training with maybe more of an open mindset. And at the same time, understand you don't have to apply. There's many sales tactics that I know that I will not apply because I don't personally align with them. Like fear, a lot of there's a lot of fear is probably the best motivator in sales, but that doesn't feel right to me, so I don't do it. But there's a lot of other ones I've warmed up to and are successful that align with my values. Okay, so hopefully that helps you, buddy. Angela, I'm going to let Forrest chime in on that. That's a question that's specific to maybe, let's see. I misread your question, Angela. I'm sorry. So you're basically, sounds like you've done bits and bobs and trials. You're just not really, you're having trouble getting started, Angela. That's very common, and it sort of goes back to what I was saying about the number one thing is that pretty much anything you're going to be doing right now, Angela, is like your number one thing because it's bringing you forward in your business, and that can provoke nerves. Don't feel guilty, but use that guilt as a motivator that you could just decide you got to kind of get some momentum, Angela. There's nothing I can say, unfortunately, to kind of make you do this stuff. You have to really find it within yourself to just make the choice to pencil in your schedule, certain things you're going to get done. And once you get a little momentum going, it'll be sort of self-perpetuating, okay? That's why for me, like, I have these little routines I do every morning. I wake up and I meditate and I read like 5 pages. I read 5 pages of Tony Robbins. But if I don't do that, I just almost like it has an effect on my productivity for some reason because I know I didn't do what I set out to do. So set yourself up with like easier wins, quicker wins, okay? That'll help you get some momentum. That'd be my tip, okay? Okay, wow, we got a lot. Okay, gotta get going here. New York Look says, what is your measure of yield? What result are you seeking? Well, of course, that depends. There's not one metric that I could say that will apply to everybody. It just depends on in what context you're using the number one thing. Like the way I use it in my day is like, what's the one thing I can do that'll give me the greatest, most important result, most impactful result, what's going to move the needle. And that's going to depend, obviously. Like, for example, if I have a product launch and it's Monday and I got to send out that first email, that's my number one thing. If I don't get that right, that's like going to be a big payday, a big culmination of my work. That's yield as far as forward movement in your life and business. That's what I mean by yield, but that'll depend upon the context, okay? Cheryl doesn't mind the kids coming in. Yeah, people usually dig it. Thank you for being understanding. Christine says, I'm terrified of public speaking and going on YouTube, but I also feel that this is exactly what I need to do and where my doorway to success will be. Yeah, you know what? I think it's good to do things that scare you, regardless if it's going to be something you do forever, anyways. It's a lot of times your success in business will be limited by your own self-development and sort of proving to yourself that I can do things that my mind says I can't, that my mind attaches fear to. When you make yourself do it and you prove to yourself that I can sort of face my fears, then that like mindset and courage and confidence is like, it spills into all these areas of your life. So if anything, do the YouTube just because it scares you, just to get that confidence boost. But doing YouTube also will make you a better communicator. Make you very aware of where people are at when you connect with an audience. There's so many benefits of it. But yeah, I don't know if that was just sort of something you wanted advice on or sharing, but it was very hard for me too. People that have met me, I don't know, some of you have met me. Forrest knows me pretty well. I'm not like I am on camera at all in real life. I'm much less loud and animated. I tend to be more reserved and only speak what I really want to. I'm not really an extrovert at all. So getting onto YouTube was like very, very, because now I love it. A lot of times the things we're afraid of, we end up loving, okay? Jaco. Question, Vic, YouTube strategy for posting videos every day. You said to focus on videos that already work for your channel and do different versions of them. Will your current subs not get bored? Well, they might a little bit. You got to balance that, okay? Like energy updates work for me, but people would get annoyed if I do an energy update every freaking day. It'll get old. It'll dilute the pop of them and the power of them, and it probably would, in the end, not be best for me, right? But with that said, you also want to sort of double down on what's working. So it's like a paradox, okay? And you got to be kind of clever and not just blindly do the exact same thing. You got to kind of mix it up within that repetition of the same thing. So it's not a this or that. It's kind of a blend, okay? And the best way to do it, just kind of read the feedback of your audience and kind of get a feel for it, okay? But the reality is with YouTube, it's not like you say you have 1,000 subscribers. It's not like all those people watch all of your videos. Like how many YouTube channels are you subscribed to? I have like a lot. Many people I haven't watched in probably years, okay? So it's not like everyone's paying that close of attention as well, okay? But you gotta just kind of balance that advice. It's a mix, okay? Francis said, hey, Victor, I've been posting every single day for 2 to 3 months. Good for you. And I feel like I'm about to finally get the growth I desire, but I'm still not getting it. Any tips if I'm already in the flow? Yeah. A lot of people, they will sort of blindly adhere to the daily video suggestion. And that's great. That has so many benefits. But if you're not really analyzing your results and analyzing your data and constantly seeking to improve yourself in all ways as a person, as a speaker, with your titles, with your just everything. If you're just sort of doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting to get different results, it's not going to work. You really got to be constantly improving in everything. So I would say go back to your channel, look at the videos that have done well, and ask yourself, why have they done well? What about that? And try to bring that to all your future videos. So constantly be improving. That'd be the best thing is, like, I'm still evaluating and tweaking things to this day, okay? And I did a lot of that in the beginning. And if you don't believe me, go back to my earlier videos. You can kind of do it real quickly with the YouTube search function, and you'll see a whole bunch of different types of thumbnails. I had all these different things that I would experiment with. But now it's like, you see me now, it's like it's much better, much more refined. And I'm still even playing around and tweaking, okay? So keep improving. Can you share advice on brokering profit split deals? What tips do you have for the negotiation process to increase one's percentage for bringing clients to someone's service? I don't really have any tips on that. I haven't been in that situation a lot of times to really give you anything you probably haven't heard, unfortunately, in New York. I don't really know what to say about that. Increasing one's percentage for bringing clients. I don't know. I can't. I'm just be out of my league. I don't have an experience with that. Sorry. Energy transformation says, when will the module creating your first digital course be out? You probably just signed up, I'm assuming. After 30 days of your being part of the group, it'll be available. J. Joe, do you integrate astrology into your decision-making timing? No, I don't. Even though I do these energy updates, I personally don't. No, I go with my own intuition about what's going on in my life. Like, some people will not do something because of Mercury retrograde, and that's fine. That's within their belief systems as being the best way to go about it. Then they should do that. But for me personally, I feel like I have the best ability to sort of know what's best for myself, and I try not to let the outside influences sort of tell me what I should or shouldn't do. But that's just me. It's not right or wrong. It's Victor. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. There are some here. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure I don't want to like miss out on the people's questions that were submitted. These are some good questions too. Okay. Let's see. Francis asked, what email list service do you use right now? I got Aweber, the free trial, and he basically said that he notices I'm using something different, and he thinks what I use looks a little bit better, and he wonders what the deal is. So I use something called Active Campaign, which I honestly don't recommend if you're just starting out. It's way more complex. It's good for having a lot of like they call behavior-based marketing. And me and Aaron have it. We also have a guy we pay every month that kind of does the techie stuff that we don't even understand. So I like Aweber. In fact, now that I have this fancier email service, part of me wonders if it was the best move. Because now I have to pay this guy a good amount of money every month just to do all these things for me when I understood Aweber and I made it work for me. And Aweber is badass. And as far as like the visual, how the email looks visually at the bottom, that means nothing. You want your email to look like your friend Bob sent you an email with his Gmail account. You don't want it to be flashy, in my opinion. The big dogs, they have very simple email layouts, so that's not an issue. Aweber's solid. Sierra says, can you talk about Facebook fan pages, both business and as a public figure? What content should be in each page? What is the purpose of each page? I don't know much about that, honestly, but I can tell you the important thing about if you want to go with Facebook as a method. Okay, the important thing, what will really work for you, is to build a community. Okay, and what I've seen work very well for Facebook is like building a group, having like a group that you create and manage and send people to, where you build a community. You go live and you post content, just like you would on Instagram or YouTube. Videos, messages, that kind of thing, where you really get a lot of people that tie you to the community and they see you as like the leader and you're always filling them up with value. There's this person I wrote down, I'd recommend. Her name is Spiritual Boss Babe, and she's someone who does great. And that's like her primary model, this Facebook group model. It doesn't have to be a Facebook group, but have that as a mindset. Build a community, deliver value. Okay, as far as like the specifics of the fan page versus the public figure, like that, I don't really know. I don't use Facebook that much, personally. I'm going to start going back through. I'm going to kind of jump around here. New York says, how if at all you do, if all you do in the traditional film industry could be supportive to YouTube influencers, how could your content benefit from pay-per-view on major online streaming platforms like Amazon? I'm not sure I understand your question. Sorry. I don't really know how to answer that either. Let's see. Seventh, Sacred Sage says, I'm struggling to figure out what to do. How do you decide what contact would be sellable? Well, if you mean, that's a bit vague. I would say clarify could help you out more fully. But if you're discussing what is going to be something that your audience will buy, the best way to find out is to survey them. In fact, I did that just this morning with this course I created, this Empowered Empath course. I sent out an email today that linked to a very simple questionnaire I made up for free on something called Wufoo, W-O, I don't know, Wufoo. Just look it up. I don't even know how it's spelled, but Forrest can help you out, hopefully. Wufoo.com, you make these forms and you gather information that way. For me, I asked the audience, what are your greatest barriers? Like, what are the things you struggle with the most in this area? What are your biggest goals? And what are your greatest perceived barriers to success? And when I understand that, then I can deliver something that's really fitting. Okay? August says, hey, Victor, which email list do you use? I use ActiveCampaign. Which email list tool do you use? I don't really use, well, ActiveCampaign, I'm assuming is what you meant by email list tool. August, you basically said, is there an email service you can use that will allow you to build it, like, capture emails without a website? Yeah, you can, even with Aweber, the one I recommended. There's a way to build sort of basic opt-in pages, but I would not recommend that. I would recommend if you're gonna get an email service, get something like Lead Pages. It's like $20 a month, I think, and that will allow you to create awesome opt-in pages. You don't have to have a whole website. You just have to have that little one-page thing that says, here's why you should put your email in and click the button submit, and I'll give you some cool stuff. You need to have that page, and it's worth your time and money to to have that done right and not just rely. If you just are building your list with like the Aweber template or whatever, it's just not going to work well enough, in my opinion. Okay, but I would check out lead pages. What up, Joshua? Josh. He says, do you think you could share the process for starting a YouTube channel and when you felt like it was time to jump in full time? Well, that would be kind of a longer story, but what I realized, Josh, is that I could... well, the process when I started on YouTube, I started out with a lot of different YouTube channels, and I had 5 YouTube channels, believe it or not. And some had more success than others. But then the one that just resonated the most, the one that the content came the most easily and the most passion flowed into, also happened to be the one that got the best reaction and response. So through all that experimentation, I was able to clarify myself and my direction. So I started out with a lot of experimentation, okay? And then when did I know it was time to go full time? When I started making money. But I started going full time before I was making money because it was something I felt intuitively guided to do. But that's not going to be the case for everybody. A lot of us, it's wiser to be smart. You know, I had a sense that if I go deep into credit card debt, I was going to be able to succeed in the nick of time and where it would be okay. That's a dangerous suggestion to just give to other people, which I don't. But that's what happened with me, and it worked out. Okay, just follow your instincts and go full time whenever it makes sense for you. Francis said, what's the best way to create a sense of urgency after making an offer for your coaching package if I have no current clients? Well, there's a couple of different things. You could lie, which that might not work for you. I don't think I wouldn't lie personally and say, you only got 2 spots left. People do that though. But again, I'm not cool. I wouldn't do that personally. When I first launched my coaching, I really did only have a limited amount of spots, and I had a lot of people applying, so it was like legit that I only have so many spots. I'll try to help you think of one right now for a moment. What you could say is that I'm offering a promotion, and these prices you see it's only like if you sign up right now, because I always give everyone on their first call an opportunity to get in at a good deal, because I like to reward people who I like to have clients that take action and jump at opportunities and sort of seize the day. And if you're that kind of person, I'll reward you with an awesome deal, but it's not going to last. The prices are going to go up quite a bit. That would be what I would maybe experiment with. Okay, Corey. Second time I saw your question. I know you submitted it prior. Let me get it up. So Corey had some good questions. Corey's been busting ass for a while now, and I'm happy to hook you up. So one of them was, what are some ideas for, let's see, I'll answer this one first. Audience engagement. So a lot of times you might find in the beginning, you have this video, you put your heart and soul into it, and you get like 50 views and like very little likes, no comments, and it's like depressing. So I'm going to give you something that works for me. Now this is something that just happened organically. I didn't just do this as a tactic. But if I could go back, I probably would have. So a lot of people say, hey, welcome to the YouTube channel. Go ahead and click the like button. Remember to share this with your friends, yada, yada, yada. And to me, it's just me. It sounds like a pitch. And some people, it works on them. They'll blindly just follow your instruction. But I know me, and a lot of you, I speak to a very higher conscious sort of population of people. where I could sense a lot of them would be like turned off by that. But what works for me is at the end of the video, I thank people in advance. Say thank you for your likes, for your shares, for your comments. So just hearing that, I believe it causes people to say, oh, he's thanking me. I should just do that. So thank people. And then even in the beginning, Corey, I want to thank you all for your support and your comments, your shares, your likes. They really help out, and they mean a lot to me. I bet if you start doing that, you'll get some more people. It just kind of puts it in their mind to share and thank you in those ways. It's kind of a hack. I really do think it works very well. But again, that just happened to me organically. I just started doing that out of sincerity, and I saw it made a difference. Another thing, a big thing about engagement, sort of an intangible piece of advice, Corey, and for all of you, it's ninja hack number 2 I wrote down is be super, I put the word super in all caps, real, raw, authentic, vulnerable. Tell personal stories. Share personal struggles. The more just straight up, like off the cuff and honest you are, the more people will feel a connection with you. And the more your teachings will be absorbed by them, and the more moved people will be. But if it's just like this, hey, I'm going to teach you how to do 3 things, and yada, 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 I'm the instructor, I'm the teacher, you're the student, blah, 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 blah. It's like you create this distance, that where people might have learned something, but they're not going to feel personally connected to you to the point where they're going to take time out of their day to share something. So I know a lot of people, and when they're starting a YouTube channel, they feel they have to be this I've already made it type of authority. And then it comes off as kind of awkward for one, because we're all just students at life. But if you just drop that whole facade and you're like, yo, my name is Corey, and man, there's these things I learned over the last year that are going to help, I think will help you out a lot. They helped me. This is what they were. Last year I was struggling. I had this crap going on in my life, and I realized something, and this thing helped me, and I just hope it helps you. If you just like share, relate your victories in life, your experiences, your wisdom in that way, not from the top of the mountain, you'll see a huge spike in engagement, all of you. And you also, Corey, wanted to know if there's any ways of getting your channel out there, a way to promote your videos. And there's a lot of them. The big blog or forum Reddit is big. Instagram, Facebook, promoting it via those social media channels. Another big one, especially in the beginning, is to become a regular commenter on bigger YouTube channels. Watch the video and then leave an insightful, real, helpful content, like comment. This dude, Metaphysical Mike, he's like got, 5,000, 10,000 YouTube subscribers, and he started off from scratch. And he's always commenting on my YouTube videos, and it's always one of the top comments. He has like hundreds of likes because people liked his comment. So he's sort of promoting himself as a YouTube channel on my channel with people he knows are going to resonate with his content, which they do. And I bet he gets a good amount of followers that way. And sometimes just those little boosts, the little extra, the little hustle can differentiate your like early channel from someone else's early channel. You're doing this work, your early channel's gonna get an incremental, speedier increase of engagement, and then you can get kind of swept off into the YouTube algorithm that way. Okay, so hustle. And then again, focus on improving everything. Like in the beginning, I was reading books about speaking. Like I read this How to Do a TED Talk sort of book, and I was reading books about that. I warmed up my voice with breath work, and I would be aware of when I shot my best content. For me, it was after a workout, and I just really tried to do everything to the best of my ability, and then continue to find areas that I could improve. So never become stagnant, because if we just put all this work in, but in a stagnant kind of way, the results aren't going to come. Because we're not really growing, and then we become resentful and discouraged and jaded, and then we give up. But if I can't determine what's going to work, but I can control myself. And I can always learn from everything. And I live by that. And I would apply that with boldness to your business, your channel, everything, okay? This video did great. What could I do better? This video sucked. How I could learn a lot from this video in that case. So just have that mindset. Jabba says, how does the channel Higher Self share your videos on the page? There's this channel, Higher Self, that basically uploads like 20 videos a day of other people's content, but they promote that particular, the source. They promote the creator of the content, so it's a win-win. What happened? I think I just reached out to her and asked her if she'd be willing to do it. I don't even know if it helps me, but I know it does help other people in earlier channels. I have this client, this personal client, Carolyn, that all of a sudden, Higher Self just started promoting her content, and Carolyn's got thousands of subs now. She's got a whole full-time business because that was a big part of it. Higher Self gave her a huge boost. So straight up, there's, I believe on most of the YouTube videos, there's an email. You can just email them and say, hey, here's my stuff. Would you want to promote it? It's like real simple. What up, Karen? Hey. Have you anticipated the huge haters that Teal Swan has now had to have full-time security and her videos that validate her messages? This is fame and attention and is not of a high vibration. I don't anticipate myself having that many haters personally. I don't think I'm quite as controversial as some people, fortunately. And if that was the case, I would back off because I would never endanger my family for that. I'd just quit before that happens. So no, I don't believe it's going to happen to me. And maybe that's why it won't. I have this belief that I'll be guided in the best direction in my life. And I don't anticipate that sort of fear-based sort of projection personally. But Teal's got a unique role, and she's kind of a badass in her own right, and she doesn't mind rustling feathers, and I respect that, you know. But that's not me. So no, I don't anticipate that. Light Body Forever. I would like to have regular yoga classes at the same time weekly for hire. Will that work in addition to building healing and meditation sessions in the course that I designed? Yeah. In fact, like I was going to do all this stuff when I had my personal training gym. I had this personal training gym. I had a brick and mortar place, and I was thinking I'm going to sell supplements. I'm going to sell these aftercare plans. I wanted a membership site. I wanted all this stuff because the brick and mortar thing it becomes very draining and time consuming, and it's not something I saw myself sustaining until old age. So having stuff like this is very wise to do. Yes. Eliza says, how do you deal with clients who hire you to create content that is related to negative topics like politics? How do you deal with clients who hire you? Well, that's your job to be discerning about what you want to create. I would not hire them personally. I would not work with them if that was something that bothered you. Or you could find a way to do it in a way that aligns with your values. For me, creating content, if it's not aligned like perfectly with my own personal values, it comes out really bad, unusable, unrecognizable to what you see. Okay, so for me, it's extremely important. I can't bullshit. I can't just. It's got to be really like aligned with my intuitive, like, sort of. It's got to be aligned with like my spirit or something. It feels like so, but that's me. A lot of people, they can just sort of like they have different belief systems, and maybe that's a limiting belief I have, and I possibly is. Some people have different belief systems where they can sort of go off for the greater good or something, but you gotta just that's not how do you deal with it. It's like you choose whether you want to work with those people or not, and it's okay either way. And sometimes when you let go of the clients you think you need, you open up more doors for the right kind of people to come in. Julie Murphy. Hey, Julie, what's up? She says, can you expand on what you just answered about getting lead pages? Meaning, how do we create that lead page for all the free stuff? Not sure how to do this, and we've not been getting conversion. So, well, lead pages is just a software you can use, fairly inexpensive, that all the templates they have and they share are very well tested. Like the colors, the buttons, like all that stuff has been like scrutinized, very tested very heavily to really just work. So you're already starting off from the bat with kind of a good advantage. Okay, now my intuition tells me with you, Julie, is you also, well, for one, we have a section in the course that I go over like how to create a good lead magnet. Now you wouldn't need to know the techie part of it, but I go over the fundamentals. You want a very catchy headline that grabs attention right away. You have to have a very compelling offer. Maybe what you're offering is not just perceived as valuable by your audience. And that's hard to kind of accept because it is probably valuable in truth, but it's all about their perception. And it's okay to experiment with different offers. Like I've written long, it was an 80-page ebook. I've given free courses. I've given just videos saying, hey, sign up to my email newsletter. And for me, out of all the experimentation, what works the best is a free guided meditation. It was just as easy to create the guided meditation, but for whatever reason, having that tangible thing I can just get and listen to and benefit from, a free thing, it had a very high perceived value, and I went from getting like 20-30% opt-in rate to now that my MP3 gets like 75% opt-in rate. So 75% of the people that land on this simple little page is a sign up, okay? So Julie, I would say, go into the course, look at that fundamentals video, and if you can't find it, post in the group. Forrest will help you find it, okay, in the Facebook group. That'll kind of give you like what needs to be there on the lead page, fundamentally, for any of it to work, okay? Secondly, check out lead pages. If you're just using some kind of like Squarespace template or something, yeah, I wouldn't expect you to be getting that good results. Not knocking Squarespace, there's not a lot of customization there. Get lead pages and test offers. Ask people. You straight up send an email and say, hey, I'm coming up. I want to hook you guys up with a free gift. What would you like? I have these 5 options in mind. And then just sort of survey them. That'd be a kind of a quick way of doing it. New York Lick, does lead pages integrate with Wix? Do you know of a lead magnet plugin that does? I don't know much about Wix, no. But lead pages stands on its own. You don't need to integrate it with a website, though you probably can. It wouldn't be necessary. You did a squeeze page or a landing page for your opt-in just needs to be one page. It can be totally independent from your website. So it doesn't even need to integrate, okay? Emotional Alchemist. What up, Mark? He says, do you use the community tab? I'm assuming you mean on YouTube. I do, yeah, sometimes. And honestly, it's been surprisingly effective. I will usually post the thumbnail and a little message saying, hey, got a video coming out soon. It's about this. Tune in at 5 o'clock to kind of promote my video. I've also promoted my retreats just in the community tab. I was shocked, I don't know, a few retreats ago when I was asking people, like, what made you sign up? I was curious. Like, what was it that caused you to be here? And so many of the people, they saw a little message I put on the freaking YouTube community tab, the easiest promotion I've ever done. And it signed up a lot of like, high-end sort of people. So it's good for that as well. Although I would use that more sparingly and not be like the salesy person all the time on your community tab. I use that strategically and not very often. So yes, it's very valuable. Thank you, Corey. Woofu. Yes, we talked about the Woofu form. I've used it many times. And Corey put it there, WUFOO.com. You get free forms. Francis, nice. I recently created an email list and people are signing up faster than I thought. That's a great problem to have. Do you recommend a daily habit of writing? You could, but that'd be a bit jumping in with both feet sort of mentality, which I dig, and I've been known to do that myself. But you could also just do it like once a week or twice a week. Yes, but I recommend you start emailing right away. When you have like at least 20 people on your list, start emailing them. It's a skill that will develop and improve over time. It's a skill that will make you money. It's a skill that you can retire from. And it's very helpful to have. In fact, I had an email list I was emailing for quite a while before I launched any course at all. So even though like my whole course launching process was very elementary, being nice about it, there's so many things I could have done wrong. It still did well because people by that time, they just liked me. They associated me with all this value, and now he's got this thing for sale. Oh my God. So yes, start emailing. You can do it every day, but you don't have to. I don't even do it every day. I do like 5 days a week. And that's considered kind of a lot. Okay, let's see. Light Body Forever. The community tab is if you go into your YouTube channel, not in the settings, not in the dashboard, but you just go like click to view your channel while you're logged in, you'll see at the top there's like community. You see a little button for community where you can post. Java, you've been a huge help to me in my awakening journey. Awesome. Do I need your permission to share your content? Yes. No, go ahead. It helps me, and I'm flattered you would do it. Thank you. Yeah, no, you're good. That's very nice of you to ask, but no, sharing someone's content, especially when you credit me to it, that's a gift. New York, look, how do people find your lead magnet if not on your webpage? Well, when you have something like lead pages, it gives you links. Whenever you go to create a new lead magnet, you can create hundreds of them. You'll have your own little link that is sort of hosted with the lead magnet business, their system basically, okay? I hope that makes sense. Would you suggest releasing podcasts as they are created one by one, or creating a group and having them queued and released at a consistent? I would recommend, regardless, putting them out on a consistent basis. It's like a TV show. One time I was late with my podcast, and everybody was like, in fact, with my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law. I didn't even know he listened to my podcast. He was like, Vic, what happened? You didn't, where's the podcast today? It was like Christmas time. And I was like, oh, I didn't do it. He was like, oh, okay. I could tell he was like let down. I was like, really? This guy, someone I didn't expect to listen to my content, it made me realize people, like, they come to look forward to your regular content. That's how it's like a TV show, a good TV show. So whether you do that the day of every time or you backlog, that's up to you, but keep it consistent. Okay, I want to make sure I get to all the questions that were submitted. Sort of related, this is Joshua. What up, Joshua? He says, my idea is to produce my content in advance and then schedule them to be published at a certain peak time for optimal engagement. But you're wondering about the third-party like platforms that auto-publish stuff, it can backfire. So I don't have a ton of experience with this, but what I have heard, and I don't know if I'm accurate here, is that Instagram sort of doesn't promote auto-published content as much as if it was just organic from your page. I don't know if that's true. I'm paranoid enough to I don't want to take that chance personally. But here's the little experience I do have with that. Me and Forrest tried this to get like a software thing for it. It wouldn't even allow me the flexibility of adjusting the thumbnail of my video. So that was a huge, that's like a make or break situation. So I was sort of turned off by it, but I have a very limited experience with it. But yeah, whatever it takes to make it easier. Now, with that said, I would say maybe also allow yourself to hustle. Is it annoying to go on at 5 o'clock and post to Instagram? Kind of, yeah. But if you have it already, like for me, I would have my video already downloaded to the phone from Google Drive. I'd have my caption written out like the morning of, and it would just be a matter of like uploading and pasting, and I'm done. Um, but eventually, you'll get to a point like now. I don't even go on. I don't even have the Instagram app on my phone. I don't ever go on it. Forrest does all that for me. I just make the content. But it took me a long time to get to that point. I was hustling for a while, but that's okay. But here, you also wanted to know about about sort of like maximizing the benefit of like one idea, like meaning like you. I don't know if I wrote down your question actually, but basically what I wrote down is you can take one idea, and this pertains to what you were asking. I just didn't write it here. I forgot what it was the way. Basically, like you're asking, like how do you like maximize an idea? Like you can have an idea for content and make a YouTube video, blog post, Instagram. So here's what I wrote down. Take that one idea and make a video about it. And then write 500 words, making sure to have 3 keywords sprinkled in there and a good title. And then you embed the video, and there you have a nice blog post. A lot of people do that. I used to do it. And then you can, for Instagram, you can take a little 1-minute clip from the video, or make a little post. You can take the idea and make it into an Instagram post in the Instagram sort of format. And then you have 3 different things, one idea. So I would recommend that for sure. Kimberly says, would it be possible to discuss the shifts to changing your identity? Like how Victor went from being a personal trainer and a marijuana grower to a spiritual entrepreneur. I'm having issues with this, like shifting the reality. I have some ideas about this, Kimberly. One, and this comes from a guy I used to coach. He had this business called Be About It, meaning like be about it. It's like act, like even though your feelings might take time to catch up of the whole identity shift, you just say, who do I want to be, and act like that person. Okay. Like for me, I was like, I want to be an entrepreneur. What do entrepreneurs do? They read, they focus their minds. So I'd wake up, I'd meditate, I'd read. They take action every day in the direction of their dream. I did that. So I started like modeling these behaviors that I associated with the person I wanted to become. And over time, my mind was like, this is apparently who I am. And it kind of worked that way. Now with that, you could also, all of the stuff Aaron talks about, his whole philosophy allows you to make those shifts within yourself a lot faster. What I talked about a moment ago was more like brute force. Your mind will catch up in a will. But I would just sort of like take to heart the suggestions Aaron gives because they work. And he's a living example of that. And many of the things he shared have really just literally changed my life, allowed me to rewire myself in a very, very powerful way. And it sort of speeds up the process, tapping into the psychology and using NLP and that kind of stuff. But to be patient with yourself. For me, it's not, and even for Aaron, it wasn't just an immediate shift. It was a process that you can apply the techniques and then ground them into your being with action. Okay? But be patient with yourself as well, Kimberly. Oh, good. I got to all those that were written down. Cool. Christine says, I'm writing a book a few weeks ago. I got this urge, this huge inspiration. I didn't know it would turn into a book. It's about trauma. It's your niche. Oh, nice. Including your own story. What would you say would be a good low-cost offer? Forrest, maybe you could chime in the comments about that. Forrest is like a wizard with like ranking on Amazon and all that kind of fun stuff. I wouldn't even know where to begin. I know going cheaper in the beginning to get more book sales is wise, to increase the degree at which Amazon will spread your book out and promote it, and then you can jack it up the price a little bit after you kind of get that big momentum going. But Forrest probably has better advice and can expand upon that. But good for you on that book. That's awesome. It's inspiring to me. Joshua basically says like 1 YouTube video per day, plus 2 to 3 forms of IG content per day, plus 1 blog post per week, similar content, different forms. Great idea. Yeah, that sounds pretty solid. Yeah. And eventually you could streamline that. So just know that with the whole it'd be too big of a tangent to go where I was going to go here. But eventually, like, you could set the ball like this. But eventually, like what Aaron does, he did for a while, he just made his video, and he had a very inexpensive virtual assistant convert it into a podcast, and then convert that video into a blog post and get the transcript made. There's all these things you could streamline eventually. So even if you have to hustle to maintain that content schedule, it's time and energy well spent because it's leading to a point of like ease. Like for me, like with Instagram, I grow pretty quickly now, and I haven't posted new content in a long time. It's just recycled content posted by Forrest, and I don't have to worry about all like the attachment to my Instagram presence. I have no connection with it at all, and it grows beautifully. But I had to hustle, man. I had to hustle in the beginning, and it was not always convenient. Be out to dinner with family, and I'm gonna post on Instagram, and it's But to me, it is 3 years of doing that, and now it's like it's on autopilot, straight up. I don't think I have to think about it. Okay, so yeah. And long story short, that's pretty solid. Liza, I'm not good at keeping things organized from plans to lists to to-dos and keeping track of what needs to get done. You just need to make lists, basically. It's like, I don't know about you, but like I have too many things going on in my life where I just literally will not remember stuff. I don't expect myself to. I realize the complexity of my life, so I write down everything. I have I have multiple notebooks, and I literally live from a list. I treat myself like a little child. Like I'm just not going to remember everything. So Victor, wake up. Victor, get up and go to the bathroom. No, just kidding. I don't take it that far. But Victor, I have like this list, like wake up, meditate, read. I do those things anyway, every day, but I write them down anyway because it helps me do it. And I just make this chronological sort of list of things to do that I blindly make myself do, knowing my emotions are going to want to take me in all directions, okay? And I don't believe I'm that scattered. I think that's just the nature of our complex reality we now live in. So make yourself live from a list. All entrepreneurs do this. No entrepreneur ever successful just wakes up and wings it, okay? You have to make yourself get organized. There's no tip other than just buy a cheap little notebook and write down 3 things you want to do the next day and wake up the next day. Even though you wrote them down, even though you kind of remember them, wake up and look at them and say, okay, I'll do it. And cross it off. Treat yourself like a child. That's my tip. It works for me. And start off simple. Here would be a tip. Start off with like simple things that you can do. So you build up the momentum and confidence in yourself. If you write down a list of 100 things and you fail inevitably the next day, then you're like, oh, lists don't work. I suck at life. Set yourself some realistic goals. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to tune myself in. I'm going to put an hour into my business. I'm going to go through 5 course videos. I'm going to take 30 minutes to apply them, and then I'm going to go to lunch. And then if you just get that little hour and a half thing done, that becomes a habit. New York Look asked about like, how do you know when a podcast creator is ready for sponsorship? I really don't know, honestly. I don't have sponsors. Maybe I should. Now you got me thinking. I don't know. But you could look that up probably and find out. All right. So got a few more minutes here. My computer, again, me and Forrest had to like hustle to. This thing's going on my little computer here, and there's no way of charging it, unfortunately. So our time is limited, my friends. I'm going to try to make sure I got everyone's question. Forrest, if you see any ones that weren't answered, will you please like post them on the bottom here? And if there's something that was missed and you're here and you stayed the whole time and I missed it, please post it in the Facebook group in case this thing dies. I'm going to be here until the end. But if this thing dies, then I want to I'll make sure you're all hooked up, okay? Java says, what's the best way to reach out to your forest? Just go in the group. But this is like the best way. That's why the way we've been able to make this kind of inexpensive compared to like having a personal business coach is doing it in this way. So the drawback is you can't just call us up every time you got a question. That would be like the service of a very high-end business coach. But me and Forrest are Forrest goes into the Facebook group every day, and there's a question that he can't answer. He'll let me know, and I'll answer it. So post in the Facebook group, the private Facebook group. Forrest says, when will you all be releasing the role-playing example of the client acquisition process of coaching? Yeah, the thing is, we're going to do that, and then Aaron went off. He's in like Costa Rica right now. He's in Mexico. He's been gone. But me and Forrest and Austin plan to do it very soon. In fact, I'll make you guys a promise. By the next live, it'll be done and ready to go. What they're asking is we're going to put together a pretty solid training of how to acquire clients, how to acquire like one-on-one clients. We're going to put together a little training for you guys. So by next live, you'll have it. Okay. But we didn't forget about it. Just again, Aaron's been gone. He's coming back in December, but it's something that I would probably be the one teaching because that was like my specialty. And I got Forrest and Austin. They can hook me up and help me out. So we'll get that for you by next live, okay? Promise. Let's see here. Anything else up there for us? What's the optimal duration for a podcast runtime? I don't know, honestly. There's people like Joe Rogan who have like 2.5 hour podcasts. There's people like Brendan Bouchard who have like as little as like 5 minute long podcasts. That's that's not territory I'm aware of. Okay. I know in general, the more you post, the better. I think that's why Brendan Bouchard, he posts like, if he goes on Instagram and does a live, he'll record it, make it a podcast, and I think that works very well. But I don't personally know. Me and Patty have our podcast. We do once a week, about 35, 40 minutes, and we do it more as a way of connecting with our audience. We're not really truly putting energy into growing the podcast. So I wouldn't be the one to ask. Aaron, he's killing it with his podcast. So maybe leave it in the group and Aaron can answer that for you and have better insights, okay? I'm almost sad. There's no more questions that I can see. Honestly, I really had fun. I really get a lot of joy talking about this stuff for whatever reason. And you guys are all super cool and you have really good questions. So it's very nice. Let's see. Okay, let's take this last one here. Last two, Francis. All right. Let's see. How do you deal with clients who hire you to create content? Oh, I did answer that. Forrest, I answered that one, buddy. Thanks anyway, though. My niche is presence and awareness, and I'm having trouble finding keywords. Do you have any suggestions? Yeah, find more established niches that you could share that message. Like awareness and presence is not really a niche. It might be like the core of what you offer. Like my message, my niche in that light of that is like I'm all about empowerment, taking control of your life and improving yourself, and also helping with the navigating the awakening process. But those aren't niches. So I find full moon energy updates. I find higher self, spirit guides. So you just got to like look for other keywords that are more popular that your message would relate with, and find a way to embed your message, which is what you described as a niche is, presence and whatnot. That's like your message, not your niche. And find niches that have keywords associated that you can put that into. Like Forrest, as an example, his niche is like he loves meditation. But he found that talking about astral projection and imbuing his message into astral projection videos, which happen to be a very good keyword, it works for him. So do some research, Francis, okay? And sorry, you can't hear anything. Let's see. Yeah, my computer might be on the fritz. Francis, hopefully you heard what I said. If I just sort of answered your question a second ago. If you didn't get that, then please let me know, and I'll make sure to answer it in the Facebook group. I'm gonna go before. I want to make sure this thing saves. This thing's about to die. Thank you all so much, my friends. I did my best to get through everything. I wish you all nothing but the best. You all rock. Again, I'm sad I probably won't be here next month, but Aaron will. But I'll catch you all very soon. Much love to you all.